All right. So the reason we're here today is we are going to talk about how solar power, sustainable farming, and sustainable food systems all interconnect and how they are important. Our presenters for today, first myself, my name is Riley Francis. I'm a marketing coordinator at Straight Up Solar. I've been on the team since 2018, and I enjoy working for Straight Up Solar. It's something fun that I can do that helps people and helps the environment. And I'm also joined from Straight Up Solar by Shannon Fulton. Shannon is the Vice President of Development. Shannon joined Straight Up Solar in 2013, and she is able to serve her passion for renewable energy both in her work at Straight Up Solar and also in work that she does for a nonprofit called We Care Solar. We Care Solar is a nonprofit that equips off-grid medical clinics with solar energy in an effort to reduce the infant mortality rate. So in any medical clinic that doesn't have access to electricity, they bring them solar power to get them electricity so that they can safely deliver newborn babies. We're also joined by Tara Brockman of the Brockman Family Farms. Tara is the fourth of 5 generations of a Central Illinois farm family and a James Beard nominated author. When she's not writing or speaking about food and farming, you're going to find her working on her brother Henry's vegetable farm or her sister Teresa's fruit farm, both of which are solar powered. And Tara is solar powered as well, so it is a whole solar powered family. We are also joined by Molly Gleason of the Illinois Stewardship Alliance. And Molly was raised on a 3rd-generation farm and feels a strong connection to the earth. Molly works to coordinate the Buy Fresh, Buy Local Central Illinois chapter, as well as being extensively involved in various other aspects of local food programming. And she's our expert today on sustainable food systems and sustainable farming. So, today's topic is about solar energy, food systems, and smart farming. But what all these 3 things have in common is that they're very closely linked to creating a sustainable future for us. And we wanted to bring this webinar together today as a part of our Earth Day, Earth Month series to educate our community on why it's important to support smart farming practices, smart food systems, and how solar energy can help promote resiliency in farmers and a more sustainable future. So I want to give a chance for everyone to kind of contribute to today's conversation. I want to ask everyone watching to get into the chat and say the first word that comes to mind when you hear the word solar powered. There are no wrong answers. If you can drop into the chat the first word you think of. Savings, that's a good one. Clean energy. So both very good. Savings, 2 for savings. We like that. Everyone loves savings. Good deal. And we can emission free, that's a good one. That ties back into sustainability. These will all be topics that we touch on later in the presentation as well. So now I'd like to ask for everyone to drop into the chat what comes to mind when you hear the words sustainable farming. Minimum use of chemicals to farm, that's a big part of it. The environment, it's a good one. All right, and what do you think of when you hear the words locally grown? Within 50 miles, we have good land stewardship, fresh. We like our food to be fresh. Good deal. These are all great answers, and we'll touch on all of these aspects further on into the presentation, but it sounds like we have an audience that, oh, family is a great one, transportation free. It sounds like we have an audience that is very wise, and I think we'll still learn a lot from this presentation. All right, so I want to talk to you all a little bit about Straight Up Solar and what we do. We were founded in 2006, and we serve Illinois and Missouri, and we have over 1,700 installations to date. We're a part of the Amicus Solar Cooperative, and we're a certified B Corporation. Being a certified B Corporation means that we have a triple bottom line where we not only consider our business's profitability, but we also consider our environmental impact and our social sustainability. We have over 75 employees, with almost half of our employees having their North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioner certification. We're a Tesla Powerwall certified installer. We just got new products where we are offering the Generac Power Cell battery and Enphase Encharge battery. We're an REC premium installer, and we have a 10-year workmanship warranty. And now I'm going to turn it over to Tara to talk to us a little bit about the Brockman family farms.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
It's working. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us on a sunny day. I'm kind of a spokesperson for our multi-generational set of family farms, which began, I suppose it began in the old country where my mother, but I won't go there. We'll just start with this country. And my great-grandparents started a farm in East Central Illinois, where my father was born and raised, and actually my grandfather was born and raised as well on that farm where my little sister now lives. Basically, we are just extremely diverse with different members of the family doing different things. Henry, as you see in this picture here, with two of his interns from some years ago, raises over 650 varieties of vegetables. My sister Teresa raises, I don't know, 70, 80 different kinds of fruits. And then I don't even know how many, 40 some kinds of herbs, probably more. And her daughter Kira raises flowers. All of this is organic, local, and all of it is economically, environmentally, socially sustainable. And we can go into all those different things a little bit later if you want. I don't want to take too much time in the little intro here, but I will say, and talk about this more later, Henry and I put solar panels on our roofs in 2016, I believe, just about this time of year, when the sun was beginning to shine and many hours per day. And I was so excited. I kept obsessively checking to see how many watts I was generating every day. But so Henry has a farm, and his farm now is solar powered both for the plants and for the power that he uses. And my home is solar powered. My sister Teresa's fruit farm is solar powered. And I had excess generation of electricity, so I actually bought a 100% electric vehicle, the Chevy electric Bolt, B-O-L-T, and that is now being powered also from the panels on top of my house. So it's a good feeling, and we can all talk about it more later. And it also ties into the whole sustainability thing with food and environment and energy use.
Am I up now? Hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I'm with Illinois Stewardship Alliance. For those of you who might not be familiar, the Alliance is a statewide nonprofit organization. We're an alliance of farmers and eaters, and we come together to solve problems in the food system. Our theory of change is kind of that people must use both their voice and their choice to be able to change the food system. So we know that you know, we want people to buy local and to support local farms, and that is one way to help grow the local food economy, ensure that we have thriving local food systems. But purchasing power alone is not going to change the food system, and it relies on people, you know, who have the money to be able to purchase local food. And if we really want to change the food system, we also need to change policy and the underlying kind of systemic structures that root our food system in place. And so that's the voice part, and everybody can use their voice. And so one of our, we said our voice and our choice. So one of the big things that the Alliance does is work on helping people use their voice around smart food policy. So we like to say that we're farmer-centered and eater-powered. All of our policies are directly driven by farmers. We work with many farmers across the state on a regular basis to identify issues, to put forward policy solutions, and then even the farmers themselves help kind of build the policy campaigns around the issues. And then the eaters they approve all of our policy agenda, and then they mobilize to help bring those policies to life. We know, I think I'm talking to an audience of farmers here, so we know there's, not very many of you guys out there anymore. We want to see more of you, but if we want to see more of you, we have to get the eaters involved and engaged in mobilizing and caring about your issues. So that's what our organization does. I'm going to move to the next slide. And so this kind of all ties back into, this solar energy presentation, because one of the main things that our organization tries to do, and I think everybody here on in this policy panel, or this panel is trying to do, is trying to support farmers and make sure that you have everything you need to grow a thriving farm and to put sustainable practices on your farm. So we know that farmers are the heart of the food system, and then we know that the way you grow your food affects all of us. It affects the environment, it affects the economy, it affects our health. So we want to make sure you have the resources that you need to be able to grow food and in a sustainable way, and to be able to use sustainable practices, whether that's solar energy or whether that's cover crops or whatever it might be. So I kind of already mentioned that our organization works to identify those policies that farmers need, and we work on those things. And I think there are already some great policies and programs that are in place that can help farmers use sustainability measures like solar power. I think Shannon and Riley are going to talk about some of those here in a little bit. So that's my spiel.
Yes, and how it's all connected is, so the energy that comes in from the sun, that powers our solar panels. But likewise, that is also the source of energy that grows our food. The way our food is grown impacts our bodies, our communities, and the environment. And we can kind of likewise show the food that we eat that powers our bodies, the sunlight that can power a farm through solar panels, through the plants that are grown. It's very interconnected, and using solar power is a way that we can get away from fossil fuels as our main source of power and emigrate more towards solar power and a more sustainable power. And Shannon is going to tell us a little bit more about how solar does that.
Yes. So this is one of my favorite photos that Straight Up Solar has received from one of our early customers. This gentleman has been farming his family farm, Burroughs Farm in Morton, Illinois, for many years. He unfortunately passed away last May, and so this photo is even just like really special, and it speaks to legacy. He sent this to me because it was special to him, and then that is his grandson next to him, and he thought it told many stories, and in particular the one that was closest to his heart was, passing on a legacy for his family. And the climate is changing. He recognized that. He was an early adopter in Illinois, in the Midwest. He went solar back in 2015, I believe, at their farm. He put in a 25 kilowatt system, received the USDA grant that see there mentioned in one of the bullets below, which offset 25% of his system. He also received the state incentive, which offset another 25 to 30% plus the federal tax credit. So, you know, solar does provide control, energy cost control. You know, it helps to combat climate change. In Illinois, we are powered much by coal and natural gas, also nuclear. But if you know, if this mini solar plant on Scott's family farm is producing, I think their system produces about, if I recall correctly, about half of the energy that they needed at their property. So he's producing energy from the sun and offsetting the energy that he would normally be buying from Ameren that's, you know, produced by coal-fired power plant. So we mentioned that farmers certainly save money. Anybody who installs solar saves money. You stabilize your energy costs and provide some energy independence as well. And in particular, if you want to also install equipment that can keep your operation, your home, your farm operating in times of grid outages, there's also an option of adding a battery system as well. So is it right for you? We'd certainly like to help you answer that question. But if you want to consume energy that you make yourself, that you produce on site, it's certainly right for you. If you want independence from how your electric utility increases costs or charges you for your energy, it's a good option. It's also a good option if you want protection from those inflating rates and you know, if you're just interested in producing renewable energy.
All right, and Tara, if you could talk to us a little bit now about your experience going solar, as well as your sister Teresa, who has a fruit farm, and your brother Henry's vegetable farm.
Sure. Everything, you got me? Am I working?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I can hear
I
you.
never know if I've done everything right. So Henry and I went solar in the same year. Shannon had worked with me for quite a while. I think we went back and forth on how and where and how many panels. And we thought at first we would have a ground array to catch the most sun, but then we figured out a way to put all of the, I believe, 18 panels on my south-facing roof and porch roof and dormer roof and a few other south-facing roofs. My house has many levels of small little roofs, but we figured out a way to puzzle pieces together and put enough panels on the south-facing roofs that we didn't take any of the lawn area for a ground array, although I think ground arrays are also pretty in their own way. I think the whole process, for me, it went super smoothly. And, you know, as soon as they run all the wires from the panels down into the basement, into the inverter, and you start making electricity, I don't know, I didn't know I was such a nerd about this, but it was very exciting to think about photons from the sun, you know, this immense ball of fiery gas out there burning away, and the photons going through space and coming down onto my panels on my house, and beginning to, you know, excite the electrons, which then begin to move in a little line like a little train. And we know that moving electrons equals electricity. And those things, you know, just start to move because of the power of the sun. And then we have electricity. And to me, it's just sort of magical. And I also love that it's clean and that it's independent, that I don't have to be dependent on coal or any other source of energy now. I mean, I am tied into the grid, and we can talk more about that later if you want to. I don't have a battery system as of yet, although I hear the prices come down, so I might do that. So Henry and I began in, I believe, May of 2016, both of our farm. So mine is the lower right there. I don't know, you can just see a little bit of some of my panels with all the guys who installed it in orange there. And then the one above me is the same guys, installing at Henry's the next day on his roof that was in one of the previous pictures. It's a big packing shed, a big like Morton building type thing. And I think he had almost double my number of panels, perhaps. I can't tell you exactly, maybe Shannon remembers. But because he's powering both his home and his farm business, and he uses electricity for, cooling. I mean, he has a big freezer, he has a big cold room, he has a well, he has any number of things that are, taking electricity. So he did that on his farm. And then a year or two later, Teresa is the larger photo to the left there, is my sister Teresa in Eureka, and that's part of her operation. And you can see in the background, her shed, her workplace has panels again on the south facing side on 2 levels, the porch, the kind of overhang area, and the main building area. And all of us, I would say, have been extremely happy with this whole experience. It's been relatively easy and painless and exciting in the end to generate your own electricity. And I think Shannon also mentioned that as farmers, my brother and my sister were able to get the USDA REAP, which I forget what it stands for, renewable energy, something or other. So there are grants, there are incentives of various sorts. I'm not sure what they are at this time. They tend to change. But again, Shannon and all the folks at Straight Up Solar know exactly what the Illinois incentives and the federal tax incentives are and how we can take advantage of them. And so, of course, you can, and it will make the initial outlay much easier. And I just looked at it as an investment. I just looked at it as, yes, I'm going to lay out a chunk of money, but over time, it's going to pay for itself. And at some point, I'll actually be, quote unquote, making money by not spending money on electric bill. And that is true. My electric bills have gone virtually to zero, except in the winter months when the sun doesn't shine as many hours per day. But in the end, yeah, I to be, generating solar energy. I'm excited that it's powering my brother's vegetable farm, my sister's fruit farm. It's just, all of us are concerned these days about environmental issues and carbon emissions, and how can we be more sustainable and leave a better planet for our kids and grandkids or whomever is coming next. And this is one way to do that. So yeah, I'm passionate about it. Anybody who wants to come look at my solar array or Henry's or Teresa's is always invited if you're around this Congerville, Goodfield, Eureka area or want to come out for a visit. Feel free, but it's to me a no-brainer and a good thing to do. So thank you.
Great, thank you for that, Tara. And I'd like to share with everyone a little bit of information on how you can get started on your solar project if you're feeling inspired. The first thing you'll do is you'll share some basic information about your home with a solar support specialist who will get you started on the process. Once you share that basic information with us, the solar support specialist will connect you with a project developer, and the project developer will create a customized system layout and proposal for you. If you decide that the layout and the proposal look good, they'll give you a contract, and if you choose to sign it, you'll then work with your project manager who will take you through the system engineering, designing, and permitting process. And once we have all the engineering documents and designs ready, you'll set a date for our installation crew to come out to your home or your farm, and they will build, inspect, and energize your system. Straight Up Solar is a full turnkey operation, which means we take care of everything for you. We take care of the inspections, we take care of all the paperwork, all the permits that are necessary so that we can make it as easy and streamlined for you as possible. And then the last step is to enjoy your new solar array. And at this point in the presentation, I would like to invite everyone to type any questions that they have into the chat function. And not just questions, anything that really stood out to you in the presentation, anything that you're particularly feeling inspired by. I'm also dropping a link into the chat now if you would like to go ahead and sign up to get a free quote. you can follow this link and do so. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and kind of give some space for folks to type in their questions, and we can get started on the Q&A session. And no questions are off limits, so we are happy to answer. All right, we have our first question. And I'm going to direct this to Tara. Tara, can you answer for us, what are the big energy users on a farm? What are the equipment or loads that are drawing the most electricity?
Well, I think there are a lot of different kinds of farms, and it probably depends on the operation. And I'm most familiar with these smaller scale fruit and vegetable farms, and so I can just sort of answer to that. I'm not sure, like the array that Shannon showed us, the farmer in, I believe you said Morton, and from the size of his machinery, it looked like perhaps a more conventional, row crop farmer. Probably has some different energy, loads than we do. But for our smaller scale fruit and vegetable farms, I would say that some of the main the uses of energy that are different from a home use are the heating and cooling, and primarily cooling in our case, because you pick vegetables, you have to get them in the cooler straight away so that they're in good shape by the time they get to the customer. So we have a walk-in cooler, and we have one of those great big ice bins like you see outside of gas stations. So it's like a great big freezer. I don't know how it's 10 feet by 5 feet. I'm not very good at it. But anyway, it's a large freezer and a large-ish walk-in cooler. And those can, take a lot of electricity. So I think those are two of the main ones. We also use a lot of well water. So we're continually having the well pump is running, and that's electric. Henry also transitioned one of his tractors to solar. So he has an old Alice Chalmers G, for all the tractor nerds out there. It's an old kind of cultivating tractor, and he took out the gasoline engine and he put in a battery and a set of batteries, and then those batteries plug in, and then of course the plug-in is the electric that's being generated from the. So now we have a solar tractor that we can drive in the fields without spewing, fumes and using up fossil fuels. So but probably our main uses are cooling. Some people also have heating for hoop houses. Our hoop houses are actually mostly passive solar, meaning it's just the energy of the sun coming through the double layer of plastic, and that's heating up the area underneath that plastic greenhouse. But some people use heaters in their greenhouse or electric light. We don't use either one of those, but some people would, and so that would be another pull on the electricity that they're using. But I think those are our main things. Also lighting. I mean, we have to turn lights on in the early morning, late evening. But I would say our main uses on our farms anyway are cooling stuff down.
Great, thank you, Tara. Our next question, Shannon, I'm going to direct this question to you. What's the probability of getting the Illinois Shines program funded again?
Great question. Someone that's been paying attention to policy. That's excellent to hear. The probability of getting it funded again is 100%. I don't have any concern that we will get it funded again. The question is how quickly. We are hoping to get energy legislation passed this spring session. So that means by the end of May. And I think the odds are really good that we do make that happen. The thing that is kind of adding inertia to that whole process is that there is a ton of interest from multiple parties in renewable energy. And that is a little frustrating because I would like to get this, this program back on track. But it's also really exciting to see that there is so much recognition from so many different entities, including labor and the utilities, frankly, environmental groups, and in industry groups, not just renewable energy, but energy efficiency. There are many parties involved in this process right now, which, you know, it takes time for everybody's voices to be heard. I think that's the biggest, although it's a big positive, that's the main thing that could push us past the end of May and into lame duck session in November. So whether we get it past this May or in November, I'm not 100% sure of, but I am 100% confident that it will happen. And, you know, and whether it's this session or next.
Great. Thank you, Shannon. We have another question that I think I'll go ahead and answer about suitability for solar and grain bins. Yes, solar power can be installed on farms where you use a grain bin, even though a lot of your energy will only be during one part of the year. Your project developer will work with you to customize a solution that will work best for you. We have quite a few different clients that have installed solar to help offset the energy for their grain bins. So we can work with you on that.
Riley, could I add something?
Absolutely.
With respect to grain bins, because the power for drying grain is used primarily, traditionally, I guess, primarily in the late fall, early winter months. As you can imagine, right, your solar energy system is producing less energy at that time. But the reason it still makes sense is because of net metering. So net metering will allow the credits that you build up in the summer months by overproducing energy, producing more energy than you need for that particular load. Net metering allows you to carry those credits month over month and use them up in the winter months when you're actually using, when your demand is higher. And the last thing I'll say about the net metering is that those credits come in the form of a kilowatt hour unit. So it represents the true energy value at the time of use. So that it's still a viable option for grain bins.
Great. Thank you, Shannon. All right, it looks like those are all the questions we have so far. Again, I want to invite everyone, if you have any questions or anything that stood out to you that really inspired you, please feel free to drop this in the chat. Our next question, can solar energy be very useful for urban farming? If so, how would it differ from a vegetable farm? Shannon, I'm going to direct this to you first.
Sure. It's a great question. So even with an urban farm, I mean, it depends on, like Tara was referring to, like what kind of equipment you're powering, what your energy needs are. But often there are two options really for an urban farm. If there is a building associated with the farm, you know, you could certainly put solar on that building and power, you know, whatever energy account or electrical account is on that property. I mean, I think solar is still a possibility on an urban farm. More likely, though, an urban farm would probably benefit more from a subscription to a community solar array. If you don't have the space for solar, community solar is a real thing in Illinois now, really only in the past year. And you can subscribe to a solar array, assuming you're in Ameren or ComEd, for example. You can subscribe to a solar array in your utility service area. So it doesn't matter where you live in Ameren territory, for example, you can subscribe to an array that's installed in Ameren territory. And there are several options. We work with a partner, Trajectory Energy Partners, to connect anybody who is interested in community solar to. They've been a really great partner, and their community solar arrays are just beginning to come online now. I hope that helps to answer your question.
Thank you, Shannon. We've had one participant raise their hand. In the event that you can't type your question into the chat, in case something is preventing you from typing, I'm going to go ahead and allow you to go ahead and unmute yourself for the participant that's raised their hand.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, can everyone hear me?
Yep, we can hear you fine.
Hey, thank you, and blessings to everybody. Hopefully everyone's been safe. I was typing. I was going to say, good day. We're looking to add solar to our house and attach a Gavita LED 900 to the system. And that's kind of what the initial question was, but I want to broaden it a little bit. We're looking to have like a farm and greenhouse kind of thing going on in our yard. And we wanted to attach on the inside, LED lights. And these LED lights have this ballast. I don't really understand how to hook up that ballast to the whole other part of the system with the solar panels, but we're looking to kind of integrate that solar panel and this LED to kind of have like a sustainable indoor and outdoor farming project. And we were trying to see not only how to hook that up, but a secondary question, tax benefits. If we were to try to, go that route, what would we need to kind of do? And do you guys have any resources or anything that we could try to look into to move forward with that process? Because we are like active right now looking for property.
Sure. Shannon, would you like to take this question?
Sure. Joseph, is this lighting project one that would be lighting/solar project, one that would be like a remote installation and off-grid, or do you see the solar? Well, how about you answer that question first? That will help me.
I think it was digitizing because I'm walking around. I heard two questions. Would you mind repeating part of it? I'm not going to move. I'm just going to see if I can hear you real quick.
Yeah, it was just one question. Do you see this solar and LED lighting project as an off-grid application, meaning the solar has a battery that powers the lighting in a greenhouse application? Is that what you're envisioning?
We already have the greenhouse tent already, and we are trying to expand it. And we wanted to also, just in case something went down, like the power went down, we did want to have like a battery backup. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you have power running to the greenhouse currently?
Yes, like it's indoor right now, but when we move, we're gonna reposition it to where it's both indoor and outdoor, like kind of have like we want to have a sunroom, to kind of make it a little easier on ourselves. But
okay.
we're getting our stuff together, and I think it would just make it easier. Say we're get into the real estate market right now. If we have that add-on, I think that'll be a little bit easier for us.
I see. Okay. Well, I'd like to talk with you separately to get a better understanding of what your interests are, and maybe we can advise and direct you in a way that solves what you're trying to accomplish.
Yes, ma'am. That'd be cool. I'd be very interested. What do you need from me?
Riley can connect you. We would just need your email address and phone number. You can either put them in the chat or email Riley at straightupsolar.com.
Okay, that'd be cool. I think I'll email her real quick because I was already talking to Mr. Bob and.
Oh, great. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you guys for your time and thank you for your patience. Yes, he is. He definitely he went way out of his way to help us. So we're doing our part now, so that way his work went in vain.
Okay, we'll certainly talk some more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to go back to the chat and see. It looks like that is the end of the questions. I'm again going to take another pause, give some space for people to type their questions. And in this space, I'd also like to, once again, if you have any questions after the presentation, or if you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at riley@straightupsolar.com. That's my email address. If you'd also like me to connect you with any of our panelists here today, Tara Brockman of the Brockman Family Farms, Molly Gleason of the Illinois Stewardship Alliance, or Shannon Fulton from Straight Up Solar, please let me know. You can email me and I can help get you connected. And at this point, I would like to open it up if any of the panelists have anything that they would like to add.
I'll jump in. We have a Food and Farm Week of Action coming up. So if you're interested in taking action on some policy issues that will affect small farmers and support small farms and sustainable farming in Illinois, I encourage you to reach out and join that Week of Action. It's virtual, you don't have to go anywhere. We'll send you just some daily actions that you can take every day. We're not doing anything solar related this year, but if enough farmers tell us that that is, something they want to work on, we will definitely work on that issue. And again, I encourage you, if you're a farmer and are running up against some issues on your farm, whether you know that there are issues or not, like we have a community of farmers for you that are working on the same things, that are doing the same things you are. So if you ever want to plug in, we're here for you. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Molly.
Molly, could you put your contact info in the chat? Did I miss that?
Oh, nope, I'll get it in there though.
Yeah, I would like to learn more about the policy issues myself, frankly.
Perfect.
Great. All right, Tara, any closing thoughts?
No, I just think that I'm seeing more and more solar arrays, both large and small, popping up around central Illinois. And I think it's a great thing. I think people are starting to understand how important it is, not just for a selfish reason of reducing my energy costs, but that's a good place to start too. But in this larger sense of, there are a lot of crises, there's climate crises and various environmental crises, and there's, any number of air pollution problems from our coal-fired plants over in Peoria, and people with asthma, and I don't know, all kinds of things. And this is one way that, each person has it in their power to, be a solution to some of these seemingly huge and intractable problems. But if we could all do our little bit, all these drops in the bucket would really make a difference. And also, it's like, it's not a hard pill to swallow. It's actually a sort of a fun and enjoyable thing to do. So I would, again, just encourage people to look into it and to work with, again, the Straight Up Solar people were terrific, answering our questions, dealing with our problems, and finding the solutions. And so, yeah, just to jump in and start the process and be able to use the power of the sun.
Great. Thank you, Tara. All right. I'd like to mention one more thing before we go. For everyone who's attended today and for everyone who's registered, I'll be sending you a follow-up email with the recording of this presentation that you can review again later. I'll also send you some information that we've put in the chat here. I'll be sending you contact information for Tara and some more information on the Brockman family farms. I'll also share Molly's contact info and a little bit more information about the Illinois Stewardship Alliance. And in that email, I'll also send more information about Straight Up Solar and how you can get started getting your farm solar powered. And I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today. We're happy to get you started on the solar journey, and we hope that you decide to reach out and get a quote from us. And I'd like to thank Tara, Molly, and Shannon for presenting today. Thank you. All right, and that concludes our presentation. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye.